Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Well, today was a very big day. I've been talking about nonstop for the last, 3 weeks, maybe a month. The Fed finally came out with their decision, and they went ahead and they increased rates by 0.25%, just as we predicted. And just as we predicted, they are also going to continue to raise rates probably throughout the rest of the year and maybe even to next year. They actually gave us a forecast, and this was a big deal. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how Tesla stock reacted to this, what it means for Tesla stock moving forward, and how the rest of the things that I have called out for the next, call it 60 days may pan out, and hopefully they do. Look, I'm not going to sit here and predict the future in any way, shape, or form. Nobody can do that. Nobody's ever going to be accurate, but I'm just going to give my gut feeling, my stream of consciousness of what I think is going to happen based off today. Today's March 16th, 2022, so my thoughts and comments are based solely off of today and my opinions from today. None of this financial advice, but hey, I got one right at least, so let's see if the rest of what I think is going to happen will play out. Before we get into it, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and let's get into it. Let's start off by taking a look at Tesla stock. So here we can see in my Weibo account, we can see today's price action, and it's very interesting. So today the market opened up, and it opened up, decently higher. Okay, we hit a peak of about 8:40 or early in the morning. This was, around 10:30 in the morning, and then we kind of traded sideways for quite some time. All right, and then we got all the way over here to call it 2 p.m. Right, where's 2 p.m. Right here. That's 2 p.m. So at 2 p.m., we went ahead and we got the news of the quarter rate hike, or 25 basis point rate hike. And all of a sudden, the stock started to decline a lot, right? And why did it decline? Well, it declined because because Jerome Powell essentially released that they're going to raise by 0.25%, and they hold the option to go between 0.25 and 0.5, or 25 and 50 basis points moving forward. But they also went ahead and forecasted a total of 7 rate hikes for 2022. Now, if you guys remember what I've been hammering on the table nonstop, the market hates uncertainty. The market wants certainty, all right? Once it knows, it doesn't even matter if it's really bad news. It just wants to know what to expect so we can go ahead and move forward. We can go ahead and put some money to work. But we don't like any of these extraneous, uncertain things that could happen, whether it's the Fed, whether it's geopolitics, whether it's internal politics. It doesn't matter. The market doesn't like it. So with the market telling us, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is the rate. These are the amount of rate hikes we're going to have for 2022. This is what 2023 looks like. We're going to raise the base to, I think it was 2.8%. So with all that news out there, the stock essentially tanked. And as that was digested, all the way up until about 2:30, okay, so it just kept going down, down, down. And that's essentially just a lot of algorithms trading. And this is why we don't do day-to-day trading. This is why we're all about long-term investing. But as that happened, here comes Jerome Powell. And Jerome Powell gives a speech, right? He talks about what this means, what it's happening, what he sees for the future. He thinks inflation will slowly start to taper off, or at least flatline, as we get to the midpoint of the year and into the end of the year. They're going to keep raising rates, which should slow down inflation and should essentially slow down the economy from being so red hot. And by the way, we're already seeing signs of this. All right, on Monday we got some economic news. The PPI came out. You don't need to know what it is. Well, all that matters is that we can see that it looks like there might be some glimmers of hope that inflation is starting to cool off a little bit, right? At least neutralize a bit. And then today we got more news this morning as well, right? Some more readings. So that's not to say that this is it and everything's going to be, amazing moving forward. For all we know, inflation's taking a breather and can continue to climb. But a breather, nevertheless, is a good sign for us, okay? It gives us hope that maybe we're hitting a peak and we can kind of, level off and then maybe start coming back down. Also, important to note, oil is coming back down, all right? Even though gas prices aren't coming back down yet, oil prices are. So we'll see how long it takes for gas prices to start to come down. President Biden today is putting pressure on all of the big petro companies to go ahead and lower their prices just as oil's falling down, but that's a whole nother topic. So let's come back to the chart here. So Jerome Powell starts to speak, and boom, we start to see essentially a bull rally for the day into Tesla, right? It breaches essentially the day highs, and that's essentially where it closed, right? It closed today, I think, about at $838, and you can see here in after hours, we hit a peak of 848, and I guess right now it's sitting about 842. This is a big move, okay? This is a very big move, especially on the back of something that really hurt us. If you remember back in January, whenever the Fed came out with their announcement, we initially ran up higher. And then once Jerome spoke, we tanked. We tanked hard, and we tanked hard the next day. Now, this is going to take a couple days for the whole market to digest it, but I think the market's going to digest it in a positive way. That's been my thesis this whole time. My thesis has been if Jerome Powell says 25 basis point rate hike, and if they give a guidance moving forward, the market's going to reward him for doing that. And I think that's what's playing out here. This is why I keep saying come April is when I think we'll start to really see this recovery in Tesla, right? I've already said that I thought we hit the bottom quite a while ago at, I think it hit 695. I was like, that's the bottom. I really believe that was the bottom. Knock on wood, right? I don't want to jinx anything, but those are my thoughts. Now, what else happened? Well, we're starting to see some potential good signs in the whole Russia-Ukraine conflict. Let's take a look at this. So this is from CNN. Again, I don't have any political affiliations. It just happened to be CNN. If you ever looked at my phone, I'm constantly bouncing between Fox, BBC, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC. I try to go through all of it just to see what's going on, to really try to come up with some kind of idea of what's really happening out there instead of all the our own propaganda to ourselves. But anyways, so this is from CNN, so don't worry about that. What matters is what this says. State Department spokesperson, U.S. welcomes sentiments of hope about diplomacy, but Russia must de-escalate. So essentially, well, I guess I'll read this part too. The United States welcomes the sentiments expressed that there is hope, that there is optimism for diplomatic progress, but believes Russia must de-escalate for any such progress to actually be achieved. State Department spokesperson Ned Price said. Okay, so what's happening right now is we're starting to hear different verbiage out of the Russia camp and the Zelensky Ukraine camp, right? They're both starting to say that, it started off with the Ukraine side. Zelensky and his department were saying, it seems like Russia is listening more to our negotiations, okay? And then Russia started to make some, back and forth negotiations. And now it sounds like they're both saying, okay, now we're at a place where we're both talking about things that may actually be doable for peace talks. So this doesn't mean it's a done deal. It's far from that, okay? We still see Russian shelling left and right everywhere. It's tragic. It's horrible. It shouldn't be happening, but it is. And it's the reality we have to deal with. What we can hope for is a speedy ending to this, hopefully a peace treaty between the two, a ceasefire, something to de-escalate and take tensions down. That's all we're looking for. And I think this shows signs and promise. In my mind, I think the big chess move would be for someone like Xi Jinping, the president for life of China. I think that's what the title is, but for him to come in, be the peacemaker between Russia and Ukraine, and I think that would elevate China and himself as this, above the fray, above war, this peace, keeper type president. Whether you like China, whether you don't like China, whether you agree with him or not, I think that would be a very calculated chess move, and I could see something like that happening. But either way, I don't care how it happens. I just want peace. I just want the dying to stop, and I want all this bombing and just proliferation of a beautiful country to end. So this could be very bullish in general for humanity and peace, but also for the stock market, also for Tesla. So keep an eye out on that. This is something else I've been saying, that I don't think that this is going to be a conflict that drags out. I think this conflict will come to an end through some kind of diplomatic means, whether Ukraine has to give up more than what they want, whether Russia looks a little bit embarrassed, but they can say that they won a certain conflict here, or they achieved their goal. However they want to spin it, they spin things to their people left and right anyway. So, it doesn't matter how they handle that. Let's just get to peace talks. And it seems like this gives us it cracks the door open for that potentiality. So keep an eye out on that, and keep your prayers and positive thoughts out there for this. Okay, so let's talk about Tesla some more. So with our current environment, we've got all these heightened risks. And we know that there's two things happening right now. You've got supply chain shortages and you have inflationary pressures. And historically, there are certain companies that you want to be invested in during these times, all right? And those tend to be companies that are profitable, make money, and produce things that people want, okay? Why is that? Well, profitability, that's just an obvious one, right? So I shouldn't have to explain that to you, right? People don't want to be investing in companies that still haven't shown that they can produce any revenue at this point. So any of these IPOs, any of these startup companies that have gone public that aren't making any money yet, it's a very tough time for them. However, companies who are making money and printing money, just, essentially hoarding it, think Google, think Apple, think Tesla, right? They're in a good position. Now, why companies that build things? Well, the reason that's a very good company to invest in is because when you build things that people buy, I can increase my prices so that any extraneous costs I have, whether it's due to inflation, whether it's just to the demand for certain products, supply chains, doesn't matter. I can raise my prices and try to have either an equilibrium or just completely put it back onto my customers, right? So that's a big deal. And that's what's happening with Tesla. Take a look at this. Here we can see, and credit to Dave Lee for putting all this together. Shout out to him. I'm just kind of borrowing this from him. But here we can see the recent price changes for Tesla vehicles. You can see the Model 3 price changes plus $2,000 for the rear-wheel drive, plus looks like $4,000 plus $3,000 for the long range. You can see the performance is a plus $3,000. Model Y price changes, $3,000, $4,000 since last week. The performance, same, 3.4. Model S, up $5,000. Plaid, up $6,000. Model X prices, just the standard Model X, up $10,000, and the Plaid, $12,500. All right, this is insane. And the reason Tesla can really get away with this is because they have so much demand. If you want a Model X right now, you're essentially looking at October to 2023, right? So I think a regular Model X is in October, and to get a Plaid, you're looking at 2023 before you can get it. That's crazy demand. That's insane demand. So Tesla can get away with this. Another reason why Tesla is such a powerful company to be invested in right now during these times is when you have supply chain shortages, well, there's not going to be a lot of companies that get preferential treatment. And so if we go back to the history of Tesla, whenever they were building out their supply chain, whenever they were trying to get all of these batteries, these cylindrical batteries to be able to produce vehicles, it didn't exist, right? There weren't these companies making this volume of batteries that Tesla needed. But these companies started to make more and more batteries because Tesla was signing contracts with them saying, hey, we'll buy everything. We just need you to produce it. Well, now here we are in 2022 with supply chain shortages, with inflation going crazy, with all these high prices for minerals needed to create batteries. And guess what? Tesla's had all these supply chains locked up, all these long-term contracts, all the way down to mining contracts. So Tesla's in a very strong position that nobody else is in. And to add to that, they also have Berlin and Austin that are going to open essentially next week. And we're going to talk about Berlin in a second here, so don't go anywhere. But I want to look at one more thing. Here is another spreadsheet that Dave Lee put together. And this is essentially comparing vehicle prices from March of 2021, so a year ago, to March of today, 2022. And here we can see the change in prices year over year. For a standard Model 3, the cheapest vehicle, the most cost-effective vehicle Tesla produces, it has gone up 22% year over year. That's crazy pricing power Tesla has. Let's go to the very last one, Model X Plaid, up 16%. I mean, you can see the numbers here. I don't have to read all these out to you, but this is crazy pricing power. And then don't forget, Tesla is prioritizing any owner or any buyer who has decided to also purchase the full self-driving package. So if you bought FSD, which is currently $12,000, then you will get priority as far as getting your vehicle delivered to you. Now, again, keep in mind, Tesla only recognizes 60% of all that revenue now, and they defer 40% of it. But still, you add that to the margins, that's insane, okay? So this is Tesla's just in such a powerful position. And then they also have Berlin opening. They have Austin opening. So things are going crazy for them right now. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and get into it. Berlin, Giga Berlin. Don't forget this. It's March 22nd, 2022. That's next week. All right. We are days away from that. This is an exciting time to be investing in Tesla. We've been waiting for so long for this factory to open. This is going to be game changing. All right. Not only is this going to be a new state of the art factory, think about it this way. Giga Shanghai is Tesla's most efficient, best factory they have, right? Fremont, it was an old Toyota factory. They retrofitted that to make it work. And honestly, efficiency-wise, Elon will even say it sucks. So Shanghai, they were able to build that from scratch, design it the way they wanted to. They took all the learnings from Fremont, applied that to Shanghai. Well, now Shanghai's been up for, almost 2 years, maybe even longer. Shanghai's been up for quite some time now. Tesla's been able to take all the learnings from that and apply that to Austin and Berlin, all right? And then don't forget, during that time, they've also now introduced the rear casting, the front casting. Now they're going to do the structural pack, right? So there's even more efficiencies, not just from the factory, but even from the way they design the vehicles. So that means a lot of things. One, that means that they'll have a more cost-effective build, right? It'll be more efficient. They'll be able to extract more value out of that. And then don't forget, if they are starting to ramp up in Berlin, and this will take a few quarters, right, to ramp up Berlin, but in the bigger scheme of things, that means they have to transport less vehicles from Shanghai to Europe, right? So that cost of that transportation becomes less. Now, how much does that help in the big scheme of things? I don't really know, because Berlin is going to have a higher cost probably for labor and for talent. But either way, I think as the volume grows in Berlin, we're going to see all of the efficiency from there. We're going to see it come across in the margins still, especially when it comes to Berlin delivering to Europe. And we haven't even talked about Austin yet. So very exciting. Check out these pictures, by the way, of Giga Berlin. How beautiful is this? And I'm sure you guys have seen this by now, but give me a second to enjoy this. Like this, I love the way we see these modern, beautiful vehicles that are electric and good for the environment on this kind of foggy day juxtaposed against all the greenery in the background. Like there's something very German about this, something very beautiful. You know what this reminds me of? If you've ever been to Interlaken, this is exactly what it reminds me of, right? Just all this greenery and then this, I don't know, it's just this balance between technology that is beautiful on its own and nature. I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. And here's yet another one, right? And here again, just the way we see all these Model Ys lined up. I mean, it's very much like, you know how they say like the Fibonacci sequence, you can see that all throughout nature, just like the pattern of it, right? I know this isn't that, but it's just the way this is all lined up, and then you see how the trees are all lined up in the back. It just, I don't know, there's something about that I think is just so, I don't know, it speaks to you, makes you feel peaceful. All right, so again, this has been a day that we've waited for a long time. I've talked about today for quite some time now with regards to the Fed and what I predicted would happen. Now, again, this isn't to say that I'm always right. You know, a lot of this, you know, it seemed pretty obvious over the last week, but when I was talking about this over a month ago, what I was saying did not seem obvious, and it seemed like an outlier thing to say. But here we are, and it happened, and the stock market reacted exactly as I had expected. So honestly, dumb luck. Nobody can time things short term. It's all about long term investing, but it is fun to know what's happening on day to day, especially when things are as tension filled as they are right now. So what happens tomorrow, next day? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But hopefully, with the Fed stuff out of the way behind us, now the only real thing to focus on will be inflation, will be the Russia-Ukraine thing, and hopefully we can get away from those. Hopefully we get peace talks. Hopefully inflation starts to slow down and we can focus more on the amazing things like next week, Giga Berlin opening. What is it, the week after that, maybe 2 weeks after that, Giga Austin opening. The new the delivery numbers for Q1 for Tesla earnings, right? Hopefully that can be what we start talking about again, right? Start focusing more on fundamentals, on what's going on with companies, company business. Are they executing? Are they not? And focus less on things like supply chains, focus less on war, focus less on inflation, and focus on the things that matter. All right, I want to leave you guys with one last thing. Take a look at this. This is a person I follow on Instagram. His name is James Dinocolotonio. I have no idea how to say that. I probably just really butchered that. But my fiance sent this to me the other day, and I thought it was very impactful, and so I just want to share it with you. Look, at the end of the day, no matter how you're feeling about your portfolio, your investments, or anything like that, looking at this should tell you if you are doing the right things and, remind you of the things you should be appreciating in your everyday life. And so he says 10 signs you're doing well in life. 1, you have someone that loves you. 2, you ate today. 3, you have a roof over your head. 4, you have goals. 5, you have clean water. 6, you have a family. 7, you're able to exercise. 8, you have your health. 9, you have a job. And 10, you woke up today. All right, let's not take for granted these little things that, may seem so small, and we just take them for granted in our everyday lives. These are things that we should take the step back and appreciate. It's much like when you get sick and you realize how much you take for granted when you're healthy, same kind of thing. So you're healthy right now. You're probably doing good. You probably have a roof over your head. You probably just ate something. So take a second to appreciate the fact that you have that when so many people don't. Okay, we're going to leave it there for today. Don't forget, I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm headed to Mexico. So we'll be out for a little bit. But on the plane right there, I'm going to be doing some editing for a video I do want to record on Friday. So stay tuned for that. All right, I love you all. Thanks for watching till the end. Peace.